players yourselves, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty that you haven't even realized that was introduced yet. So do our best to kind of make points here and there of the patch having an impact or make some changes. But all right, we got a draft already to talk about. So let's start getting into it right here. I did have to clear my chat and everything, but I believe the first four bans, it was a Sandwraith, a Parasite, a Lord Salforce, and a Magnus. I want to say, I believe yes,
Sandwraith.
it was Magnus. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So those four. Magnus, Sandwraith, Lord Salforce, and Parasite were the bans. Wild Soul first pick. Now, I know this hero, already has kind of been considered a pretty strong hero. Now, the hero itself did get a little bit of nerf on him with his Frenzy, but Mocha Brilliance got buffed. And now, I don't know if this new Wild Soul likes to go this Mocha Brilliance now because of the changes, but I have heard some rumors, perhaps. So what do you think of this Wild Soul pick here?
I think it fits what ProBusk wants to do a lot. They tried Void Beast as well, but the thing seems like Wild Soul works the best for him, where he solo short lane, and then they have that push hard carry potential in that hero, who can make a lot of space for the rest of his team as well, and put a lot of pressure onto the enemy or opposing side in terms of map control and just war farm and out carrying with a strong hero here. So it's gonna be a bit interesting. And then they have a comfort hero here in Riptide as well, and Behemoth, of course, got a bit of nerfs, but not too much to, validate him not being picked anymore. So he's a good teamfight hero for them, and it's going to be interesting to see. I think this is really the comfort zone.
Yeah.
BMG goes with the silhouette here, so that's interesting.
Yeah, again, kind of another, yet another hero that had maybe some impact here as far as changes go. Nullstone, changed around a core item for her health. Portal Key even increased by 100 gold. Not that that's very significant, but it's enough to at least kind of address right here. But you mentioned Silhouette, they also get the Lodestone and the Midas on top of that. So, I mean, you do look at these hero picks, it's pretty similar to what we would expect to see prior to this patch. And, I don't know if that's just because they are still ultimately just strong, or if it is a little bit of that comfort factor as you're talking about. That teams, as usual with the patch, even as many changes as there were, they still like to do what they find comfortable, especially with the happening so quickly here. So that's understandable, but Torturer.
It's just when you have that comfort zone. I mean, there's so many things that you don't have to talk about. You just do per automatic, and then it works so well for you. Compared to if you pick a bunch of new heroes, like where should you be now? And it's way harder to get that flow going through in a team. So just sticking to what they know for now, and then at some point, new heroes are going to come up for sure here with the changes, and some will probably not be picked, I think, and it's going to be a bit interesting. And also, Tiltuk pointing out, no one picking Tremble. Tremble is not pickable anymore in tournament rules, and I think it got some changes too. So that's why we don't see that Banda picked here.
Yeah, that is a good point. And again, there was a Catlamine on Thursday actually, and yeah, that was one of the things he had to really remind me of. I was bringing up like Electrician, and we brought up Tremble, but yeah, Electrician, Tremble, and Artesia are actually all removed from tournament rules. So those three heroes are not going to be seen, of course. As a result of that, simply put, they're banned. They're automatically banned. So whether because they got buffed or nerfed, that doesn't matter. They just got changed enough to make that the case. Voodoo Chester coming out as the fourth pick for BMG, so interesting support option there. Then the Swiftblade, final pick on the side of Fresh here. So going to be running a little bit of a dual carry here with that Swiftblade and the Wild Soul. Again, we have seen ProBusk play that Wild Soul, so are we going to see that here?
Is it a jungle Wild Soul maybe, and then he plays the Swiftblade himself? It's also an option, but it doesn't seem like what they've been doing the last couple of weeks. I'm not really sure here. It's a bit interesting. Can Riptide, can he jungle somehow? I'm not really... Swiftblade can, of course, but someone has to jungle here. Of course, Wild Soul is the obvious choice, and it's still sitting on ProBusk, but of course you don't want to give anything away, swapping the heroes around right now, keeping your opposing team in the dark, so...
Well,
I think it's going to be jungle Wild Soul.
They don't have to jungle, to be fair. I mean, they could just run the dual support with being Torturer.
They could. It's definitely an option, yeah.
Yeah.
Then lock down the suicide lane on the opposing side. Yeah. But it is a lodestone, so he's hard to box out with. I mean, Torture is a really good zoning hero against a melee like that. But, yeah. They could also do some pulling with Behemoth, or he could just stack the jungle and then, they farm a bit on Wild Soul and then Behemoth takes over the lane. It's a bunch of options.
Yeah.
BMG picking Solstice. I haven't seen him do this a lot, but of course, Tiltuk hasn't been on the team for that long, and he is the jungle player. And it's an active hero, so I like it here.
Yeah, Zlapped on Sync is the only one that we really can recognize playing Solstice. Other teams and players don't seem like they prefer to play it. But yeah, as you mentioned, Telta going to have it here. Of course, a great jungler, so interested to see how he does with this one. As you mentioned, active definitely. They do swap up on the Legion side, by the way. ProBusk does get the Swiftblade in the end. And they have, who is that? That's Denver Pro playing the Wild Soul here. So I believe he usually is their jungler, so very likely going to end up that way as a result here, but yeah, interesting. That is a little different than what they have been doing, but again, with the patch and everything, maybe has a little bit of impact here, but
for sure. But it's also something like you know, when you pick it up and you've done the same thing for a while, and then the enemy team expects that to be a short lane wild soul, and then all of a sudden you put in the jungle and you do something else you're comfortable with, you kind of catch your enemy off guard. So it's a pretty smart move here, especially if they've been practicing something here.
Yeah.
And now they have the Swiftblade carry. I mean, I think it's pretty good here for them, and offlane behemoth it seems. So looking fine. Like, what I will say though is that you have the Silhouette versus kind of Wild Soul Swiftblade matchup. What you want to do with Silhouette is just split push and buy a lot of time for her. And they do have that active team in Lodestone and Midas and Solstice, so they can do that, but they need time, I think, when you have a Silhouette. And sometimes what happens when the enemy team has a Wild Soul is that they simply just outpush you before you get online and active enough with your hard carry as a Silhouette. So it's going to be a bit interesting to see if they can snowball out of control here, or if it's going to be a more passive, even game.
Yeah, so we're mentioning, let's start with that here. Again, there's going to be a lot of this throughout today with the patch hitting. The Silhouette, her core item build has been that Nullstone, especially to start it off. Now, Nullstone got a little bit of changes here, nerfs. Really, I think you could overall call it, but the Glowstone essentially now part of it rather than that Blessed Orb. So it took away the stats that you get, but instead it gets you, the max health and the max mana here. Is this still a core, you think? Is that still expected to see here on Silhouette?
Yeah, I think so. I can't really imagine what else you should go for. I think Silhouette or an Nullstone is just so good on the hero. It makes you swap out safely every time, so unless you're caught by a behemoth, of course.
So it's the effect of it, you think that just really is what's powerful for
It's
Silhouette?
just more also just being safe. You can swap in and out and deal the damage you want to, and then
yeah.
I think you have to go. And also, it's still a farming tool for you. I can't really see anything else being bought. I mean, people have been buying Thunderclaw in the past, but I still think Nullstone is the best option.
Okay. Yeah, well, again, that's part of this weekend. We're going to start seeing some changes perhaps, but, again, it's safe to say, this weekend, again, the patch did just happen on Tuesday, so, players, teams, they're all still getting used to it, and, maybe it's something that we're going to see, down the line, but initially, yeah, you would expect to see maybe a little bit of the norm, the similar to before, so.
And now I mentioned Thunderclaw. That item has also been changed. There is a Thunderclaw now, but that costs 3,500 compared to the 2,400 I think it was before. And then there's also the kind of improvement of that. It costs 5,300, which is even better, which is kind of the old one with more damage and more attack speed. So it's not that hard or easy to get, those farming items anymore. So it's going to slow down the game a bit, I think, for most heroes. And yeah, that's going to be a bit interesting. I kind of like that, so you don't have the carries go 600 GPM after no time.
Yeah, that's I think it's safe to say kind of an idea with it, but we'll see. So keep it on that track right here. It kind of carries in the patch and everything having an effect. Again, Wild Soul, he did get a couple of nerfs. I was double checking those. His Frenzy got nerfed here by a little bit. It was the max charges reduced from 20 to 15, and then the cooldown of his swipe actually. His pretty good farming tool / some good damage, especially earlier on, from 6 to 8 second cooldown, so a couple more seconds longer. So ideally, it should hurt him a little bit here when it comes to his farming, especially. I think it's safe to say, but I'm still expecting to see pretty good farm with that said.
Yeah,
that's just what the hero does. So.
Yeah, I mean it clears camp pretty quickly, and then you move to the next one. I think it nerfs him a little bit, but it's not too much. I think. I don't think we'll see. I still think he's gonna go to the 500 here pretty quickly, or 450, whatever. Short amount of time. Yeah. So as soon as you get that swipe on the zero, of course.
So how are the things going down here at the bottom lane? You see Probusk here 11-3. Lodestone 13-2, so Proboscis having a little bit slow of a start, surprisingly. Is this really just Boxy playing it well, or?
I actually haven't seen if Torture has been bottom or kind of mid, because else it's really surprising, yeah, because Torture can just impalement and zone him out of here. But I think Torture's been down here. He's just been doing a lot of stacking for Wild Soul, so they may be prioritizing that. And now he's gonna pull here. So it is a bit surprising for sure because he's doing so well. But because Torture can just put that impalement up and zone him out of there.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened. So interesting. Well played from Boxy, I guess, also because you can also position yourself onto the creep wave, and then Torture can't really impalement. So you kind of have to get him out of that and then go on him. He's in trouble now, maybe.
Yeah, well, maybe. You see the rocket drill, and actually is going to be fine. So they're hoping for perhaps Torture to get that stun off initially, but obviously that's pretty difficult to do as an initial stun, and it just wasn't nearly in time. So Lodestone does easily get away right there, and they just go back to farming in the meantime. But, oh, he picks up a Haster actually. Middle lane, there's a little bit of back and forth. He's coming middle. Riptide's trying to get the kill first, though, and he will. Down goes Midas right there. Solstice was actually blocking him a little bit. Oh, he's probably frustrated with his teammate right there, because definitely Solstice was a little bit in the way there, preventing him from actually running in the end.
Yeah,
so good kill for Riptide.
But I think he was gone on first, the Riptide, so I'm not really sure how he has so much HP after that. Maybe Midas had used his combo in before. I'm not really sure, because I feel like they should be able to do a lot of damage, Solstice and Midas combination there, in terms of a gank. But the Riptide surviving, maybe he dodged the spell, I didn't see. So nice turn from him.
It's also,
of course, unfortunate with the block, yeah.
Well, it was also kind of interesting, too. Lodestone, I caught what he was doing right after that middle action. He was using that haste, so he ended up running back to the bottom lane. On his way down here, he actually killed Boo Boo, because Boo Boo was pretty low, and so Wild Soul had to wait a good 30 seconds right there before, of course, being able to respawn and continue his farm. So a little bit of a victory there as well for Lodestone coming out, keeping Wild Soul's farm in check, you could say. But yeah, obviously with Lodestone moving around a little bit right there, Swiftblade, his farm has started to step up now a bit, and now he's starting to gain an advantage that you probably would expect with how the lanes are set up at least.
Still, I think Boxy has been doing pretty well here. Nerfs the Wild Soul farm for 30 seconds, and also has been doing some good creep denies and making sure some Proboscis not free farming here. So both heroes are gonna hit 300 here, but still it's pretty good.
Behemoth going down to the middle lane. Torture trying to turn out a Midas. It's not going to be enough damage, though. The final auto attack. Good health potion from Midas right there. Able to stay alive. So Behemoth was in an interesting spot to start that all off. He was kind of trying to flank in and go for the kill setup himself, but he ended up getting found. And that's what really triggered the Hellborn team to go on him instead. So the good turn there, you could say, for BMG is, in the meantime, Silhouette pressuring the top lane. So Baltazar, you look at that GPM, 425 gold per minute. He should be able to get this top tower as well. As a vulnerability comes out, so we'll see if Behemoth, can he maybe deny this? No. Silhouette too strong, and actually now Behemoth in trouble. Uh-oh, Silhouette's chasing. There's a tree grapple. Yeah, this is a dead Sloskit. There's a taunt to add insult to injury. Well played by Baltazar there.
Yeah, definitely also really greedy from Behemoth there. If you're gonna make that play, you need to make sure someone TPs in advance. So if they don't, you're kind of dead.
And now Silhouette. I mean, you see the life tube, by the way. I believe a mana tube's coming. So, I mean, there's our answer pretty much. He is still going to be going that Null Stone. Again, the component's changing a little bit, changing the item and the stats of it at least, but the effect is still there. In fact, the effect it actually got stronger. So there is that buff to it where it's now only a 16-second cooldown rather than a 20-second cooldown. So obviously that's where you could argue that the item did get a buff. So maybe more of a reason why Silhouette will still get it in the end.
Yeah. It's still strong, I think. I don't really see anything else you can pick up to make you farm faster as a Silhouette.
Yeah.
It's hard to find, I think.
Yeah, I think Thunderclaw is going to be interesting to see how that's really used now. I think it's going to be a little bit of time before people really find out if they actually like the Thunderclaw. Because what you pointed out there, I mean, it costs like 1,100 gold more now to initially get, and that's a pretty big deal. I mean, you're spending 1,100 more gold to get the item when before it was 24, now it's 3,500. So it's going to take a little bit longer, and that could deter people from wanting to get it, of course.
Sure.
In the end, so. We'll see how that adapts.
then even the Arclight Crown, I mean, that's kind of the improvement of that, so...
Oh, yeah.
That's, yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure if they stack too. Could be interesting. Oh, missing a Killian Pro Busk. Nice found from Lodestone and Midas here. Good roll.
They just had the uphill right there. Swiftblade was finishing off the yellow camp, and they just simply caught him at the right time. So, unfortunate for Probusk, but as you mentioned, just good roam, really, from BMG here. So, yeah, Silhouette was the shining star here, but, man, look at Boxy, especially on Lodestone. 350 gold per minute now on him. He's 2-0-0. He's had a hell of a game here.
Yes. He's been nerfing Swiftblade, nerfing Wildsole, and enhancing his own form here. Level 8, 350 GPM. It's more than anyone else on the Legion side. Oh wait, not more than Wildsole, but it's doing really well, making a ton of space here. It's a case where you can say he's actually carrying throughout the early game here.
Now, I assume he's going to be getting that portal key still. You see right here, you're actually getting Striders even. But again, the portal key, 100 gold more now, so you need that 2250 here before he's going to be able to get it. But yeah, it's any hero that was getting portal key before is still getting portal key after that patch.
For sure.
Here comes a push now.
Yeah, they're looking to defend this. Solstice ulti can hit Wildsole from this distance. He's going to try it here.
Here we go. There's the initiation from Lodestone following up the Solstice ultimate. Wildsole, yep, he goes down. He got his ulti form off at the last second. It just was way too late right there. The Shadow Storm especially, too much damage coming out. Torture is now chased. He's probably going to die here as well, unless Midas misses like he does. I mean, they're all chasing, but now they're running into Behemoth. Here comes Swiftblade. He doesn't have a spin up, though. He does have Swift Slashes, is going to be able to turn on to Lodestone at least. Riptide joining the party late. Flashes onto Midas. Out comes a Watery Grave. Midas is going to be silenced as a result, and he is not getting away as an ultimate result of that there. So Slosky actually picks up the double tap, and in the long run, actually a pretty good turn here for Fresh coming out. They lost Wildsole, but they did get a couple heroes themselves.
Yep, nice for them. I think they should have backed off as soon as Midas didn't hit this combo. I think he sometimes, like when the target you're going for runs next to the trees, you can actually click a bit further to the left and then probably hit it, at least the stun duration. Maybe not the spells even, but they just needed the stun there. So I think he should have just used both, and then if it hits, you get the kill. If not, you back off.
Yeah.
But a nice response from them to begin with to defend the tower, and it's actually deniable here. I hope they pick up on this. And still good turn there, because Swiftblade didn't, he came in with the turn onto Lodestone, so nice job from him.
See Wildsole headed over to the triple stack Ancients. Now look at this, though. Veiled Rock coming out from the Hellborn team. If they find him here, he might be able to kill the Ancients for, I don't know. Oh boy, Wildsole's in trouble. Here we go, Midas jumping in, off to the side with Solstice. It's at nighttime. It's going to do some good single target damage. And Wildsole, he tanks up a bit, but it's not nearly enough. Torture also goes down. They finish off the rest of the Ancients. And, we saw that coming from a mile away, but obviously they did not. That was just good use of the Veiled Rot right there from BMG.
That's how you use that. That was really good for them. Bunny Lava has the Wall of Sight down. They didn't expect that at all.
Yeah.
So, and Tilt reports one to get the South in here. So things are clicking for BMG right now. It's a nice rotation, right? And they're going back to their farming patterns and keep doing what they're doing.
So, obviously one of the, actually bottom lane, Solstice. He's going to go for the ultimate right here. It hits Swiftblade. Fear comes out. The stun miss, though. It doesn't matter. The explosion from the Shadow Storm. Again, it's just too much to handle. So, Probusk, despite spinning, he wasn't able to survive right there. And obviously, BMG is just really active here. As, they definitely got that supporting cast around Silhouette at least to make it happen. That goes back to the Solstice pick as well. I mean, you mentioned that not really a typical pick outside of maybe Sync, but Tiltuk's making it work here quite a bit.
Yep, some nice rotations. Tower and nice ganks kills here, so it's really, really good to see. That's what you want to do with a hero like this. You don't want to just farm the jungle. It's not going to excel in that area. I mean, you have to be active and get the kills and get ahead with your team as a whole, not just sit out in the jungle and farm on your own. So this is how you should play Solstice. I like to see this.
Now, before this patch, I mean, it was always Solstice kind of one of these heroes that maybe can change his build up a little bit from game to game. After the patch, I mean, is there anything what would you expect to see? What would you do if you're a Solstice hero?
What exactly was changed on him?
The hero didn't get changed. I'm just saying.
Okay. In terms of the items.
Items, yeah.
So I think if you're ahead like this, and Sanitarius is pretty strong, gives you more survivability, and you can also deal more damage. It's kind of what you want, I think. Okay. Get more tanky at the same time. Some people go for the Shrunken Head and the Portal Key, which is also really good. I think Portal Key might be his option here, since they're, making all these rotations here. It makes them easier for them to get the kills they want. So maybe he's gonna go for the Portal Key and then into a damage item, like the Incendiarius, or he might even go Portal Key into Shrunken Head. That's also an option.
All right, well, yeah, we'll see what Mr. Solstice gets here, sitting on 1,800 gold now, so maybe figures more that initiating role could be a powerful one. So, Wild Soul, kind of the same logic, really. This is a hero that it seems like every game there's kind of a different build on him from just player to player. He's going to go Firebrand here, it looks like, is the Denver Pro, so interesting start for him. He went the Ring of the Teacher first, too, so the eventual Abyssal Skull, but I want the Firebrand. Do you like that choice?
Not really sure. I guess it's alright, but Firebrand actually got a bit of nerfs too. Oh, nice pick off onto the Midas here. I think usually, like this is kind of a late game item. You want to take this really late. Firebrand, Geometer's Bane, Frostful Skull. That's all those 6k items you want to get onto Wild Soul, because you can get them really quickly. But his farm is not skyrocketing, so I'm not sure if it's the most effective one onto Wild Soul right now. Maybe the aura items are better and then forcing a fight because they are a bit behind.
Yeah, and I mean, you also look at Probusc here with the Energizer, and wonder if that's kind of adapting to the game, perhaps. I mean, he already has 3 deaths right here, so obviously has not been the friendliest of starts, was not able to get that farming tool right off the bat here himself. So maybe that's where he feels he needs to kind of take over, but...
Yeah, but I think he should have went for the aura item and, try and force fights, because Riptide and Wildsoul right now, those heroes are really hard to kill, and they can deal a lot of damage with, just the heroes themselves, or they find Lodestone.
Yeah, this is well played right here, and actually, though, it might not even be enough. Okay, it will be enough for the kill, but at what cost now? Behemoth, he's definitely going to die right here. Will it be more? Silhouette joining the party. Riptide, he thought twice about that right there, of going in, and he is going to, well, he's kind of hanging around still, so actually maybe going to try for something, but I don't know if we're going to get anything out of this. You see, they're going to counter ward, and that will be well played from the Hellborn side. So, yeah, Behemoth, or more so Lodestone, actually, he was hiding right here, sending out illusions, trying to bait them, but, of course, this ward aside, I'm pretty sure saw the real one, and that's where they were able to jump and pick up the kill. Ended up being a 1-for-1, though.
Yeah. And, also, Slaska kind of died mid, and then he went top trying to deny the tower, and then he died, and I saw he was just 80 GPM. But he's been, the last 10 minutes he's been managing to find some last hits, and also the turn onto bottom lane where they killed Boxy. I think he might have gotten credit for the kill, and he has a portal key now, so nice job from him recovering and getting the farm for that. And he used it right there to catch the Lodestone, so good job. And he has a shockwave up in 1 second, so BMG has to be really careful when they make moves now. They can't do it as freely as before when Behemoth was not showing.
Yeah. Yeah, again, the shockwave damage was nerfed a little bit, just to clarify exactly how much. Behemoth. Damage from the bonus shockwave. So, yeah, the bonus shockwaves with the creeps around and stuff was reduced by, it looks like, 10 at every single level. So, a little bit less damage, but, I mean, you're still getting a great use out of it with the initiation. So, it's not the worst thing ever for him. Still very relevant.
Makes it a bit harder for him to get the solo kills, I think. I think that might be where the nerf is the biggest, because usually in team fights, it's nice with the damage and all, but I think the most important thing is the AoE stun for 4.5 seconds, which is probably the best.
Yeah. Oh, Lodestone. We've seen this before. Deja vu almost. I don't know if he's going to be able to get a kill himself necessarily right here. We definitely like some help. That might be Midas. Midas just got a portal key, and he's going to be heading on over. Now, they need to be careful not to get spotted by this ward. Well, that's what Veiled Rod is good for. You see Solstice heading over. He did go that portal key. This is a dead Swiftblade, pending a miscue here. But, I mean, this should be an easy opening, unless Probus reacts, like, insanely well. There we go. There's a stun. There's the follow-up, and here's the kill. So, yeah, there was really no chance for him right there. That's just one of those as a spectator you want to almost scream like, dude, watch out. Yeah, he really couldn't do that, though, so.
There's nothing to do there. They have the wards down. It's just not enough against a Veiled Rod like this, and then the Invis Room. So, good rune control here late in the game from BMG, and that sets up a kill, too. It's good for them. They keep up the aggression here, and they're working towards the tier 1 bottom here. But they do have the Behemoth Blink here, so maybe Legion side will try and defend this.
Yeah. Very possible defense coming up. You see them, at least Behemoth is setting up down here, so Midas, he's going to start putting some damage into the tower with the creep wave.
Good Jester though. It's in a weird spot.
Oh yeah, he's really up here. He's going to burn in the Torture. Behemoth will jump in, going to set up the kill, so... Oh, he even used a shockwave, okay. Wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, they get the kill, so I guess it's fine and might start the push here. They do concede the bottom tower, so I guess it's fine to just make sure you get the kill and nothing else happens there in terms of turn kills in favor of BMG.
Silhouette,
Meanwhile,
though, in the meantime,
yeah.
Exactly. He's just like, you know what, you have your fun down there. I'll just keep doing my PvE thing and farming top. That's what he's doing. 530 gold per minute. 1,600 gold saved up. So he's gone that typical core. It seems like we should probably expect similar continuing. I mean, something like the Firebrand into Geometers here at the very least.
Yeah. For sure. I don't think there's going to be a change in that. It's just the best split push tool outside of maybe a portal key for Silhouette. So
yeah,
it's really strong.
What about Wingbow? What about Wingbow? I guess it wasn't really nerfed.
It's kind of
a lot.
No,
it was more
Savage
buffed
Mace
even
wasn't
a little. Yeah. Okay, so Wingbow's still good. Yeah, Savage Mace was the one that actually took a little bit of a nerf there.
Yeah. Which kind of buffs Wingbow at the same time, right? Because
yeah.
the Savage Mace, you have a chance to. Well, how was it? When you miss an attack on the item, it's not on cooldown. Your next 3 attacks cannot miss. Okay, yeah. So if you can still miss, but then you will hit the next 3 attacks. So it's a small buff for Wingbow, I guess, but not the greatest even.
Silhouette, though, typically a hero that maybe would get a Wingbow just because of the stats, if anything. So
yeah.
Also
the range, of course. Yeah. It's a strong item, especially with the Geometer's Bane. It buffs your agility, and illusions get stronger from that buff of agility, not as much to the plus attack. So they go from stats. That's what makes them stronger, and Wimbow's a great item for that.
He actually buys a Warhammer here. Interesting. What is there anything new with the Warhammer?
Shieldbreaker is also buffed. So because now when you hit a tower, it gets -1 armor every time you hit it. So if you get the time to just pound an auto attacks onto buildings, which Solette usually does when she split pushes, then you will take down the towers faster. So.
Yep, and there we go. He finishes it. Yep, no, that's interesting. So a little bit of a helping with that split push idea. That I did not think about that, but Balthazar clearly did, and he likes it. Well, we'll see how it works here. But yeah, as you pointed out, it works on towers now. So. Start getting that minus armor, and thus even more effective of a push here. So,
yeah. And in the past, the Nullstone Portal Key Shieldbreaker was really strong at team fighting. It still is, and now it's also good at split pushing here too. So maybe this is going to be the new trend on Silhouette. That's definitely possible. Like right now, he's fit for fighting as well. If they want to take a fight as 5 people, so it's a pretty good item. I like it here.
That's level 1 of it. Gonna level that up to level 3, I'm sure. Might as well. The Perpetual Cogwheel on Midas here. That's one of the new build-up items here. I believe that's going to be the makings of a sheep stick, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what the new sheep stick requires. Yeah, it's part of that, as well as the Luminous Prism, the other new item. So has that going for him here. Silhouette, top tower, nice. Gets the tower kill. You saw Wild Soul right there, trying to deny it in time, but just missing the frame there. So well played from Silhouette. Wild Soul does eventually get the Abyssal Skull. He's got the Frostburn. Haven't talked about him for a little bit here, but it's 400 plus gold per minute. So Denver Pro has definitely improved.
Yep.
It is fun. Oh wow, Probus found again though. Jeez, he just can't get in. This is not his game. 0-5-2 here.
I think it comes back to they got a bit behind, and then they have these huge teamfight heroes that can really fight early on if they want to, but they refuse not to. They want to keep farming, and obviously right now BMG is finding the pickoffs and have been for the last 10-12 minutes, and I think that's why they're pausing now, to figure out what are we gonna do, and I think hopefully they will finally try and make a play as a team here.
Yeah.
Also, all lanes are pushed, so it opens up cargo, and they just got a kill there. So
Yeah, Riptide. He's definitely not had as much impact as I'm sure you would like to have had. I mean, 2-0-2. It's hard to say he's not doing poorly by any means. It's obviously pretty good, but definitely when you have a hero like Riptide, you want to be able to be a little more involved. Now 22 and a half minutes into the game, so he has another 2,000 gold saved up to go with that Shrunken Head that he's had finished here for a while. But you sell Solstice, I believe, just purchased a Brutalizer, by the way. That's going to be coming out here. And that was changed too, wasn't it, with the components, I believe?
I think the components, yeah, they don't give stats anymore now. It just gives raw damage, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it's no longer the agility, and the damage was buffed as a result of that. But yeah, the quick plate is no longer a part of it. Instead, that new item, the branded saber, is now a part of the build-up. That's right. Okay.
Oh, it still gives plus 10 strength. All right, yeah.
Yeah, still gives it strength.
Yeah.
Just no agility.
Still a strong item, still the same in terms of what it does and the chance of proccing it. So, yep.
Well, for
strong item still.
For a hero like Solstice especially, I mean, he's a strength hero, so he's still he's didn't really care too much about the agility. So,
nope.
However, something like a Madman or a Swiftblade, I guess, or Nighthound, those agility heroes, it is a little bit of a nerf to them, you could say.
True. But the item's still strong. It's still probably going to be picked up on the same heroes. Still a good item if you attack fast enough. So, and Solstice definitely have that in the triple auto attacks after the Q.
All right, here comes that Kongor attempt. Let's see, Silhouette joining the party now. Ooh, so there's an interesting pickup. This is definitely the patch coming into play here. Elder Parasite picked up on Riptide. And, of course, he has a Shrunken. That doesn't matter anymore. It's no longer an attack modifier, or, excuse me, an activation modifier.
I love this.
Yeah?
I think the item's really strong now. It's 12 seconds as well. I mean, that's a long time. And if you have the Shrunken Head up, they need to auto-attack him down. And that's going to be really hard when you have those magic damage heroes, and at least 3 of them. Silhouette has to focus him. But she also has to focus Wild Soul and Swiftblade, so it's a pretty good item here. It's gonna do a lot of work, I think. Maybe more than we expect, if he gets the chance to pop his Shrunken and not get bursted down first.
Yeah, from what I've heard with the Elder Parasite as an item itself is that was always a deterrent. It's just like, well, then I can't get a Shrunken Head, and it's understandable. Obviously, Shrunken Head is in most cases a great item to have, and just having that option at least of being able to get it is something you usually want. So, but now that it's no longer, you don't have to have one or the other. I think it definitely will open up the door quite a bit, as well as buffing it, as you mentioned. You could argue. So, already seeing that here. Looking forward to
tried it a bit on Kronos, like in the past as well, and it works pretty well. It's been the same for it, even though it's not an attack modifier. But now you can use that and the Shrunken Head. It's pretty fun. So, I like the change that you can also use the Shrunken Head at the same time.
So right there, Swiftblade, a pretty dangerous spot, but in the end, he avoids RNG, does port out. We saw the Brutalizer proc not going off right there for Solstice. He was hoping he'd get he got like 3 auto attacks in while he was teleporting, so that's good for Probus, though. Lodestone, that was interesting. He actually used a Shadow Storm. It looked like he was thinking about going in, but he chose not to, and then he starts running away instead. So Boxy second-guessing himself. He was by himself, so probably good that he chose not to. Instead, he's safe with it. Silhouette, though, level 3 Shield Breaker has been purchased. So, yeah, we're going to start seeing, again, the fact, especially now that it works on towers, pretty strong push coming out from him here.
Up to -8 armor on a tower, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Considering they have 18, so it's going to go down to, instead of 50% reduction per auto attack, it's probably going to go down to 30 or something. So it's a pretty good item against that, if you get the time to pound in the auto attacks.
Yeah, it's not only good for yourself, but obviously the team. It is a debuff that's applied. It's not just a you thing, so to help everyone apply damage to that tower. But, I will say BMG hasn't been able to really siege the base just yet. I mean, we're only 25 and a half minutes in, so I guess, it's not crazy long yet, but
no.
The split push.
I think it's just the Silhouette factor there. Silhouette always wants to go late game and just take the racks after 40 minutes. They don't have to 5v5 fights. They can just keep farming.
Yeah.
And then eventually they will win the game just per automatic without even having a fight. So that can definitely happen. And that's what they're going for here. So at the same time, that strategy makes up a ton of room for Fresh here to make a play. But they really haven't tried to, it seems like. They just keep farming.
Oh, middle lane, Riptide. These Veiled Rock ganks, man, it's worked so well just throughout history for BMG. They're notorious for using it. And they're going to get another kill out of this right here. Here comes a Shatterstorm. It's going to explode. Wild Soul ran in. Oh, boy. Yeah, he went in at a bad time right there. He gets caught, too. Double tap for the team, and they're possibly going to get more. Swiftblade, he was a little too far up. He's going to go down. Shockwave from Behemoth, but it just doesn't matter. The damage was too much already. Baltazar gets a hat trick. Make it a quad kill, he says, as he dives into the base, and he still has the token of life on top of that for another minute and a half. This is going to be a siege into the base, finally a genocide in favor of BMG here.
Yeah, nice play. They've been the aggressors all game. It's been paying off for them. They get ahead every single time they try and make a play onto be a Fresh here. And yeah, they're winning. They're bringing 5 people every time and catching them, in favorable situations. So well played from them, and it seems that whenever they hit this playoff stage, they get onto another level of play, honestly.
Yeah, no, they turn it on. I agree. It's this BMG. I think out of all these really elite teams right now, they're kind of the ones that are on that roller coaster quite a bit. Sometimes they do look off. Other times they look really on point at a team that's almost unbeatable at points. So they're looking good here. They're looking good today, no doubt, and that's unfortunate for Fresh, as they dropped the first game. So very well played by BMG, and Fresh going to have to figure something out. I mean, not often we see Probusk, especially as a player, get that locked down. That usually does not happen. He is 0-6-2, though, 260 gold per minute. You're not going to win games if you're Fresh with that happening.
No. Also comes back to what Havoc Boxy made down bottom. It was so well played